Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Ryan, and we are jumping into a brand new series for the Unreal world. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the Unreal world, it is, I believe, the oldest RPG still in active development. So it was originally designed and created in 1992 by Sami here, pictured in front of us in his sagely outfit. And he has still updated this game. Even just recently, I think he put out a notification that there's another patch coming soon. So it is a really difficult and punishing survival simulation with some detailed animal interactions, and again, like I say, some very difficult challenges to come. But what we've got set up for today is a very specific type of playthrough, and I've got in mind. I'm going for an agricultural playthrough, which isn't that unusual. It's one of the starting scenarios, but we're going with a bit of a twist that my character is going to be a pacifist. Now, this is self-imposed here from this point on. These are just conditions I've come up with, which I think will make the playthrough unique and exciting compared to some of the others that I've done in the past. So, like I say, we won't be doing any active hunting, no fighting. The only food that we can use will be, of course, things that we grow ourselves, which presents a unique challenge because we are going to have to get fat from somewhere in order to survive, and plants don't provide necessarily enough of it. So I think we will allow fishing in the game for our character, but I think we're going to also rule out trapping. So no trapping or killing of higher life forms whatsoever. Strictly fish or lower for this guy. But that being said, now if you are disappointed and you want to see a combat-focused playthrough or one that's heavy on hunting and stuff, trust me, I've got a ton of other Unreal World series for you guys down in the description. So check those out if you get caught up on this series and you want more. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of other Unreal World content linked down below, so check that out, guys. Oh, and for the new players, I do have a tutorial series which covers everything from character generation to getting yourself started in the first couple days of play. So check out that tutorial series if you're a new player and you're struggling to get into the game. But with all that said, guys, let's jump into the playthrough and create our character. So since I've already got a good idea of what I want to do here, we're going to go through the character creation relatively quickly. We're just going to go with the middle of the road, an easy start here, not too easy and not custom. Easy it is, and again, I've researched the cultures pretty closely. I even have a tutorial video on the cultures and the differences between them. And for this one, we are going for the Remi. So they don't have a full weighting in agriculture, but they are kind of balanced between agriculture and herb lore. And I think both of those will be helpful in a farmer's playthrough, not just one or the other. Like some of the other farming heavy cultures don't have much knowledge of herb lore, but like I said, the Remi are a good balance of the two. So we're going to go with the male here, and of course Farmer John will be his name. There we go. Pretty plain and simple for a plain and simple kind of guy. There he is. Let's see. So no weapons. All right, this guy, we don't want to see any weapons here. Oh, this looks like a nice, friendly, jovial sort of character. Let's go with this guy. That's a John for sure. Now, this is an important choice here since we are farming. Obviously, some plants are produce or do better in other seasons, so we've got to keep in mind the calendar and things like that. And I will be referencing the wiki quite a bit in this playthrough, at least in the beginning, till we get the idea of the crop rotations and when we should be planting and stuff like that. There's a good chart, which I'll show you guys and pop up on the screen from time to time as we refer to it. So in other words, we're starting in the spring. First one. So there we go. That'll give us a good opportunity to get all the plants we can going, you know, as the months and weeks pass. So now comes the fun / tedious part where I have to re-roll a bunch of times until I find somebody who's suitable. Honestly, this is not too bad of a loadout here right off the bat. He's a pretty weighty individual, which means he'll have a decent carrying capacity. Strength and endurance could certainly be better, but again, for this character, he's a pacifist, so that would only really help with just carrying logs or firewood around. No fighting whatsoever. And agility, dexterity, speed, not too important for him. We're looking mainly at smell, taste, touch, hearing. Those will be helpful. And his intelligence and will are going to be crucial too. Well, not necessarily crucial, but they'll be helpful to have that. So, you know what? Forget the rolling. Let's just go with this guy. I think the gods have blessed us with a good starting character, so I'm good with that. Let's say yes. All right, now we're taking a look at our rituals. Preventing a lynx from escaping, making a squirrel stay still, bear skull right. All three of those are going to be completely useless to our character. Now, we might actually do some questing and stuff in this game, especially since we'll probably have to stick close to the civilized areas of the map, especially in the beginning. We'll branch out and develop our own little encampment and structure later down the road, but for starters, we're going to have to be close. So let's see here. Now we've got our skills page. Let's go down to the bottom. I like to always start at the bottom. Now, I've forgotten what an easy build stipulates. Maximum allowed is 2 above the initial level. Maximum degrade is 1. Okay. So it's unlike the 2 easy start, which I think is you can just put as many as you want and take away as many as you want. So what I'm going to do is start from the bottom down here in the combat skills, and I'm just going to start removing as many as I can. Obviously, that's just 1. And again, not worried about combat here. This hopefully will never come into effect. Now we've got the physical skills, which normally I usually take these out completely. But since we are going to have kind of an abundance of points here, we'll put a couple into swimming and maybe 1 into climbing. Stealth I'm not going to do again. If I do stealth, it'll just be, I don't know, for fun or role-playing purposes. But, oops, yeah, I'll actually take a point out of that. Why not? And skiing, I'm just not going to touch that one either. We'll become an efficient skier like in the first winter, trust me. But okay, now here's the important part. We definitely want to come right up to the top. Let's dump as many points into agriculture as we can, okay? We're talented. Again, there are other cultures that might start off with a better beginner level in agriculture, but then again, they're not quite as good in herb lore, which is going to be the second one we're dumping points into. Now, since this is a modded playthrough, and I haven't mentioned that yet, we do have access to a bunch of cool new cooking recipes, which we're going to be taking advantage of too. With all the different plants and stuff, we are going to be cooking a lot, so we'll go up to expert level there. Fishing's going to be critical for our ultimate survival, because I think that's where the bulk of our protein and fats will come from here. And hide working, totally unnecessary. Timbercraft, yes. Net making, definitely. That'll be good for fishing. Physician, hopefully we don't have to use that much. Trapping, take points out of that. Don't need tracking. Weather lore, maybe I'll play around with this skill. So one of the skills I've literally maybe used once or twice in all the hours I've played this game. So we'll give this one a shot for sure. We'll try out, especially since I already have an abundance of points. And let's dump a couple into carpentry and the last one in textile craft. Yeah, it's a good skilled character, I think. All right, now we get to choose our location in the world. Let's build this world. We'll pop up the cultural regions. I'm going to take off the legend there so we can just see the cultures. And of course, the Remi are this hunter green. So if I were to randomize within my own culture, we would start somewhere down below, which is actually not bad. I think that's what we'll do. Let me remove the cultures real quick so I can kind of get an idea of the geography down here. And then I'm going to zoom in. You gotta move your map here. Okay. So what I'm looking for is a nice open area with flat land so we can hunt. Oh, wait, no, we're not hunting. I'm looking for a nice open area where we can plant. That's right. See, it's just like a knee-jerk reaction for me with this game. So violent. But this is a decent area. Let's see. So pop that culture. Yeah, it's a little bit surrounded by water, which is kind of annoying sometimes, especially if you're trying to travel, but early in the year. But it'll be okay. Let's just enter here again. The gods have smiled on us for this playthrough. I can feel it already. So we are jumping in again to an agriculture setup. I've used this start before, and it really does give you exactly what you need to start with a farmer playthrough, including a shovel too. We're not going to do a game course. I usually don't. But if you are new to the game, I recommend going through those game courses. Not only do they help teach you the game, but they give you extra items and stuff to help you in your playthrough. Okay, and the last couple steps are just to go through these screens here showing us a little bit of information and the in-game encyclopedia. And here we are on the world map with our character John the Farmer, guys, embarking upon a brand new series here. I hope you guys are excited. Let me know what you guys think of my idea down in the comment section. Hit that like button down while you're down there. Subscribe to the channel, and let's get into the playthrough. And of course, the first thing that Farmer John's going to do is check his inventory. And oh, look at this. We are starting off with a knife, a staff, a hunting bow, and rough arrows. Normally, the hunting bow and the arrows would be a blessing for most characters because you don't always start with a ranged weapon in this game, but for John, that is not going to be of any help whatsoever. So we're just going to trade that away whenever we go and meet someone in a village that has something worth trading. Take a look at his clothes, too. He's pretty bare bones, just walking around shirtless with a cloak on and some trousers and boots. So I think I know what we're going to trade that bow and arrow in for, maybe a shirt. But he's got the mandatory shovel with the agricultural start. You always get the shovel because that's the only way you can properly plant all these wonderful seeds that we've got right here. Oh, yeah. Now, we do start the game with elk and hazel meat. Again, John does not eat that kind of food, so we are also going to trade that away as well. So it looks like we're first going to need to hit up some of the settlements nearby. If we take a look at our world map, zoom in a bit, we are surrounded by the cultural boundaries of the Remi, but we don't know the location of any villages yet. So we're going to search around. And in the meantime, we just have to hope that this loaf of dry bread is going to keep us full until we find somebody we can trade with. And after just exploring a little bit of the world map, we have discovered a new settlement here, our very first one. So let's take a quick look at the map just to see where it is. It is to the southwest of us, the little yellow square. So can't quite walk over the water, I don't think. Oh, yes, we can. Okay. We're still early enough in the spring that it's essentially still winter time in terms of the temperature and stuff. So we do need to watch our warmth level as well. We don't want to get any frostbite or even worse, freeze to death. So yep, here we are, a nice little settlement. I'm going to zoom out just real quick, kind of get a good look at the surrounding territory. I like this area. In fact, there's another small settlement just down here to the left, so we can always go check that out. They're usually these one structure villages. They don't have a lot typically, but this one potentially might. So let's definitely zoom into these folks and introduce ourselves. See what they've got. There's a dog. Hello, puppy. Ah, the first NPC we meet in our series is a dog. I don't know if they'll sell the dogs. Sometimes they have them, but they refuse to sell them. But let's just shout at this guy here, the old man through the window. Hey, old man through the window. Let's greet him. Introduce ourselves. Of course, these are our people. John is of the Remi culture, as you saw during character creation. So I am John Remelian, however you say it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's ask him a couple of questions. Do they have animals for sale? They do. They've got 2 dogs for sale. We're not actually in the market for dogs, but I will go ahead and mark that on the map once we finish talking to this gentleman here so that we can reference where the dogs are at in the future. And let's see if they know of anything around of interest. Do they have a blacksmith? Let's see. Oh, there's no option to ask about a blacksmith. That's interesting. Water supplies to the northeast. Okay, caves around here. There is a cave to the northeast as well. Okay. It's always good to get some geographical landmarks established. But, all right, so I'm going to add the marker here that they sell dogs. Very good. Okay, now, of course, if I want to find clothing or some fish that John can eat, we're going to have to just search around these buildings ourselves manually. So that's what I'm going to do. It's a little bit time consuming, but I'll slowly just travel over each stack of goods and read what the description is down here. Of course, if there's anything I want, like potentially that nettle yarn right there, we probably will want that to make our own clothing at some point, but I'll just pick it up and eventually trade with them. So let me see if they have anything of interest. Yes, there's some fish right there. Oh, that's perfect. 12 pike perches. That's smoked too, so they'll be preserved for a couple of months probably. 5.5 pounds almost. Yes, that's going to be huge. Look, they've even got turnips for sale, but the fish is what we really need. I could purchase some turnips, but let's go ahead and focus on just the fish for now. That'll get us through, and that's not going to be the only thing we purchase here. I'm thinking about this birch basket of hemp seeds. That's 16 pounds, though. I don't know if we're going to have enough stuff to trade for that, but I'll go ahead and grab it too. I mean, at the worst case, we just have to drop it, if we can't afford it, and trade for a lesser deal there. But all right, so they've still got a few things I might want. Let me go through, and of course I will show you the final trade. Well, now, we did a lot better on this trade than I thought we would. I think they see the gentle nature of John the farmer and understand that he and his ways are a benefit to the world and to the Remy people. So they're going to provide him with exactly what he needs in exchange for a hunting bow and some of the meat that we had, which he does not eat, and all the arrows. We're getting a bunch of extra stuff. So I realized that the seeds aren't as valuable as I thought to these folks. That's okay. John values them very highly. So let me show you what we came out with here in terms of our growing stuff. Now we have a full basket of hemp seeds, 16 pounds, a bag of rye grain, 20 pounds, birch bark box of turnip seeds. That's only 2 pounds, but we'll definitely stretch those out. And a bag of peas. Oh yeah, so a lot of planting potential, of course, in addition to the things that we have here. Now, some of these I'm noticing we don't know what this is. Let's go ahead and use our herbalism skill right away. Yeah, select an item from the vegetable kingdom. How about these bizarre seeds? Dog enters my view. No. Okay, no, we didn't learn anything about them this time, but I'll try and be consistent and use that herbalism or herbalore skill a lot, definitely. But unfortunately, we didn't really get any clothing, so we're going to have to rely on either growing our own flax and things of that nature, which will take a long time, or maybe we can trade for some too. But of course, before we do any of that, John needs to break out on his own and find a spot where he can start a nice little garden and potentially build a cabin somewhere. So let's jump back out to the world map and kind of explore our surroundings a little bit. Branches bend and curve above your head here in the majestic temple of the ageless forest as you encounter a reindeer herd. So, as I was looking for a nice little place to set up camp, John came across a reindeer herd. There's only one that he can see clearly, but let's go into stealth, not so that we can hunt these beautiful animals, but so that John can better observe them and their beautiful nature. Just shadow them closely as they disappear off into the thickness of the forest. We will zoom out a little bit. There we go, and let's back out into the world map so John can hopefully find a place of his own here, just like the reindeer. Well, John's immodesty and shirtless nature caught up with him, and he almost froze to death while he was searching for a place to sleep. But luckily, he was able to put together a large fire, so things are okay now. He's going to have a nice little meal of fish and rye bread next to the fire, and we'll probably go ahead and sacrifice this dried elk cut just so we don't have to carry it around, because its nature does kind of offend John quite a bit. There's the smoked pike perches. Ah, very good. And of course, as we eat and drink by the fire, we will get warmed up a little bit. Take a nice little bite of the rye bread, because that won't last as long as the fish. But let's go ahead and sacrifice. There we go. General sacrifice, the dried elk cut. Give that to the gods. Beautiful. Now we feel more at ease. Wonderful. And although this probably isn't the final place that John will end up setting up a home, this is as good as any, I think, since we got a fire started here. There is a lake just behind us, so if we acquire any nets or fishing rods, hopefully we can support ourselves. And eventually we won't have to trade for all the fish that John needs to supplement the fat in his diet. Of course, I think that this is also a viable spot to do a little bit of planting. Again, I probably won't use all the seeds here, but being in John's nature that he is a farmer, he plants a little bit of seed everywhere he goes. Anyway, guys, I think John is ready for a rest by the fire, so this is probably a good spot to end today's episode. But don't worry, there's a whole series to come, guys. The Pacifist playthrough. And again, if you would like to see more excitement or survival, check out one of my other Unreal World playthroughs, all linked down below in the description. I really appreciate you guys' support over the last year or so as I've created these. It's been really great to discover the community out there for Unreal World. Such an old game, but really a gem, no doubt about it. And it is easily one of my favorite games here to bring you guys on YouTube. So I'd also like you to consider, if you want to support my channel, I do have a Patreon link in the description below. Help me make my dreams of becoming a full-time YouTuber eventually possible, guys. I really appreciate any contributions you make to that. Of course, it grants you access to all the Patreon content, as well as a private Discord server just for me and my Patreon members. But anyway, guys, I will leave you with that. I appreciate you all, and I will see you on the next one.